Alright guys, CT Raceworks rear bulkhead gusset kit installation. So there are no videos, no directions, there's zip zero out there about how to do this. So we are going to be installing this on the 2018 Can-Am X3, trying to kind of take everything to like the next level for 2024 season. Basically want to make it safer, want to make everything stronger in it. I would say more reliable, but it's batting 1,000. It's about as perfectly reliable as it could possibly get. So yeah. So first thing you'll have to do is you'll have to take off this rear fascia piece, which is actually sitting right up there. So there are 5 Torx, just your regular size Torx fasteners, right? So 1, 2 down here on the bottom, and then there's 1 right here in the center, as you can see, and then there's 1 more right there and 1 more right there. Then that rear fascia comes off, and then, you know, I'm assuming you guys know how to take off your rear radius rods and stuff like that, and pull plate, because if you cannot do that, then I don't know that you should necessarily be tackling this project. So I gotta say, this gusset kit that you get from CT is absolutely insanely good quality. It is very nice. Right now it's covered in, you know, paints like speckles, because I was out here at the wire wheel last night. I did get a jump start on everything. So first thing you're gonna wanna do, basically, once you get all that stuff off, hold each of these up here and then just trace around them with a black Sharpie, right? That way you can get, you know everything of where they're gonna go, you know what paint needs to be stripped off. So did that last night, and now the next step is we need to get this bottom piece to fit on here a little bit better. So I think I have to do a little more trimming, as you can tell by, you know, if I offset it, as you can tell by those holes. Still needs to go up a skosh, but I think if I just trim off these corners right here, I think that'll get us there. So once we get this bad boy installed though, everything should be wicked strong. So here we go. So what, we gotta go up 1/8 of an inch or so? Gosh, 3/16 tops. Yeah, probably more like an 1/8. I just do not want to have to cut that factory plate out. Reason being is I don't want to have to worry about these bars, you know, shifting at all, right? Like, because they could, you know, they could go up and down like that a tiny bit, or walk in and out, you know. It's not likely, considering they still have these side, you know, gussets welded on there, but just might just try just to whack this part right here underneath and just tuck up both of these 2 tubes a little bit, see if that helps. I might try to roll this up a little bit more, go get a punch, see if I can roll that up a little bit more. And if that doesn't work, then it's time to really do some invasive stuff. That bottom web we got cut out of here now, and spent a solid bit of time grinding all this nice and smooth. So now this bottom plate here, let's see if you guys, so this bottom one finally fits up here nice. You can get your bolts in there. Now the issue that I'm running into, oh, before I say that, so I did have to, on the passenger side, I did have to dent the bottom of this tube up just a skosh. I mean like a 1/16 of an inch, like just took a couple taps with a hammer. Just to pop it up a little bit, just because this side was kind of sticking down a fuzz. So the issue I'm running into now is when you take this piece that goes in the inside, all right, this piece is supposed to go like underneath the transmission, and then this one comes up underneath it. It's just kind of like sandwich this tube right here. This added thickness from this inside plate, this like little wing right here, basically that added thickness now holds this bottom plate down just a little too far. So, unfortunately, sorry, that was probably loud. What that all means is I gotta pull the transmission out, which I'm not gonna lie to you, I did not think that was gonna be part of this whole project. I had big plans for everything I was gonna get done today, and yeah, I'm not at all gonna get close to any of that stuff. I mean, overall, it's good. It's gonna be super strong. It's gonna be really good. It's gonna be awesome. It's just, you know, well, I had plans, and well, it's gone to shit. So, I'm gonna work on pulling the transmission out of this thing, and I know once I have the transmission out and stuff like that, I'm gonna be super stoked. Like, you know, it's one of those things, just do it once, do it right, just, it sucks, but just do it. So, that's what we're gonna do. So, here we go. Alright, now that we have the transmission out, I'm not gonna lie, had I known that this was gonna be such a big project before I started, I don't know if I'd do it. But I do know that I will 100% be very happy once it's done. So, yeah. Okay, so now with the transmission out, I can start finally mocking up all of the plates. So, let's get back to the original task. Getting this CT gusset work, or CT Raceworks gusset kit installed. Alright, first thing we're going to do is I went and I grabbed, just because I have a bunch of spare metric hardware, I grabbed some spare bolts and stuff like that and non-locking nuts. That way I can, you know, bolt these into place so that they'll stay. Make life a lot easier, you know? I do love how snug the tolerances are. Like, that's super nice. Perfect. So one thing I do not understand is how, with this bolted in, there is no room on the inside for, like, there is no room in here for this plate. Right? If I slide this in here and I try to like squish this bottom plate up, right? Because of these tabs on here, it doesn't fit. So I think I might just try and flatten out the bottom of these tubes a little bit with a hammer. And if that does not work, then I'm probably just going to cut the ends of those tabs off. Actually, that's not true. I'm going to try to bend those up, bend these, or smack the tabs. Wait a minute. Why don't I just bend these tabs up? Just make it match the rest of this. Just bend this up. That would probably make it way stronger anyway, right? Weld this tab on the inside here and, you know, along there. That'd probably make that way stronger. As you can see, I bent these rear tabs up. Unfortunately, CT Raceworks, they make an awesome product. Sometimes their directions are a little lacking. There aren't even directions on the site about this stuff, which I can totally understand, because if you're willing to conquer this level of, I'll call it, you know, fabrication, I guess, kind of, you know, you kind of have to figure some shit out yourself. So I think I actually like this design more anyway, because this now fits down in there nicely, slides all the way back there, right? And that should be super strong. So what I'm gonna do now is I'll probably just throw some C-clamps, you know, out here on both of these outside edges, you know, just to help hold that up. Basically, I'm trying to get it to where I can, you know, like get everything in place, make sure everything is, all the powder coat is stripped, which as you can tell, nothing in here has been stripped yet, so I still gotta mark and strip all that. You know, but I wanna get everything kind of mocked up so I can get it all marked out so I can strip powder coat off, so. Nope, not missing, I'm just blind. Okay, so let's get this put up here. I love how tight the tolerances are. Love it. Okay, and that fits on like that. Whoops. There we go. The other thing that I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to still drill my top holes and my bottom holes at some point, because, right, I have this plate that will go on here, and so I got the top and the bottoms. So I think that having this and this will make this whole rear bulkhead wicked strong. So yeah. Now for these side tabs, had to break little tabs off. So for this side one, that will fit on there like so, beautifully. So yeah, so I'll mark this out now, and then we will end on the inside too. And then I'm gonna break out the wire wheel once again. We'll start stripping all the powder coat off that we need to. So, all right, I'll do that. Why don't you guys go and, you know, crack a cold one. We'll be back. Okay, so we finally have this back plate all mocked up. I did have to bend this a touch bit more, this middle one. Had to just bend it in a skosh. I also did have to, you know, this same middle one, right? I just had to hit the top of it with a flap disc just to give myself just a gnat's ass of clearance in there. So also have the CT Raceworks, you know, whatever it is, radius rod bolt conversion kit. So I did put some clamps that you see down there. I did put those on here to like pull this bottom front part up, but when I did that, it kind of pulled this back part down a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld some of this stuff up. Like I'm going to throw a bunch of tacks and a couple small beads all around this stuff to hold it. Then I'm going to hold, like pinch that and then weld that. That way, hopefully none of this stuff shifts at all. Well, let me say differently. If it's welded, it won't shift at all. So that's going to be my next step. Is I'm gonna... So I got a good chunk of this, you know, I'll call it semi-tacked in place. Still all kinds of, you know, welding to be done on it. But I'm gonna let that cool overnight. You know, I don't want to do too much, get too much heat into things. You know, best to go slow. You know, there's no downside to going slow and just welding it a little bit at a time. You know, you definitely want to make sure you get good penetration on it and stuff like that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to weld in. I got a couple corner gussets and stuff like that back here that I got to weld in. So, you know, just generally trying to kind of spread the heat out throughout the car and stuff and not get any one thing too hot and stuff like that. You know, like I said, you don't want it to warp and stuff like that. So So that'll be my plan for the rest of the day and stuff, and yeah, then tomorrow's gonna be a shitload of welding. So I wish I knew how to TIG weld. I know how to TIG weld and blow holes and shit, but I trust my MIG welding skills with my life. I don't trust my TIG welding skills to save my life. So yeah, all right, I'm gonna get back to it. Wow, that was a heck of a lot of welding. So I left everything bolted up while I welded it, just to make sure that everything, you know, stayed in place. And I tried to, as you can tell, do, you know, short bits, right? And I also tried to alternate sides as best I could. For example, you know, like I welded from here down to here, then I'd immediately go over here and weld the same, like a mirror image of it, you know what I mean? Like, okay, do this, you know, and then do this one. That way just kind of spread the heat out. And I tried to only do, you know, 2 inches, maybe 3 inches at most, you know, at a time. And then that way it would just really spread the heat out and stuff. And then I also, as you guys know, I have a ton of other gussets I'm welding in, but definitely have a little bit of cleanup to do. But everything came out really well, and I'm really glad I ended up bending, oh that's hot, bending up those tabs on the inside. So I think that definitely will help with, you know, strength and rigidity. So the next thing I got to do is I need to take that rear pole plate and I need to bolt it up here and then just drill my 2 top and my 2 bottom holes. And after that, I can finally clean it up with a wire wheel real good and stuff. I'll probably end up sandblasting the inside of it, and then can get it painted. So, all right, as you can see, I got the rear radius rod plate slash pull plate put on here. This is a 2018. However, I bought I think it's 2022 or 2023 and newer style pull plate, where it has these 2 extra fasteners up at the top and then the 2 extra fasteners down at the bottom. So the CT Raceworks rear, I don't know, bulkhead, I guess, does not have it. So I have this like center punch set. Basically will help, you know, get the exact center of that hole, you know, so that way I can, so I tighten these down, right, put my, these are just the stock radius rods that I had laying around back in here, just because I needed the spacing. They're a lot easier to get to than my real ones. So put this in here, I'm gonna punch that, drill it out, and then after that I can actually bolt this thing on. Oh no, I can't. I have to clean this whole thing up and paint it. Then I can actually bolt this thing on and, dare I say, almost be done with this tiny project compared to the rest of the car, which that'll feel pretty good. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna center punch these, drill these bad boys out, and get this thing bolted on here. No, I'm gonna paint it, then I'm gonna bolt it on. All right, I'm gonna go do that for my ADD kicks in. Got a couple coats of paint finally put on this thing, and I think cleaned up pretty darn good. You know, not gonna lie, it was definitely a little bit more work than I thought it would be, but that's not on CT Raceworks. You know, the fit and finish of this thing was absolutely incredible. I cannot believe how good everything fit. Just took a long time just to weld it all up and stuff like that. I mean, I probably could have welded it faster, you know, if I just would have just, you know, done a lot longer beads and stuff like that. But, you know, this bead up here is the longest one I did, you know, and it's shorter than my index finger. So, you know, I really tried hard to spread out the heat and everything else and stuff. So overall though, came out super good. So now I'm gonna start putting this whole thing back together. So we're getting there.